Good afternoon, welcome to Morning BCI. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and this is my co-host, Kream the Cat. He is sleeping in a big furry orange ball off to my side, like a good cat. Yeah. Are you going to interrupt my video today by headbutting me randomly and knocking things over? We have yet to see. Maybe. So, this is my review on the G.I. Joe classified series, Retro Duke, where I think nostalgia has gone a little too far. So, in today's video, we're going to be doing some size comparisons. We're going to be talking about the accessories. We're going to be going over the articulation. We're going to be going over what it comes with, the accessories. And, yeah, we'll be giving my final thoughts on this figure overall. And if you don't mind, go below and hit the like button, share, and subscribe. I personally don't have many social media accounts because Instagram doesn't like me and doesn't let me make my own Instagram account without giving them my driver's license picture or something like that. And honestly, I see what Facebook does with people's IDs. And I don't want that. I'm good not having my personal information sold like that. And I'm pretty sure my personal information's been sold a lot. And I used to have a Facebook account. I haven't touched it in forever. But yeah, you can guarantee my name is not my real name on that Facebook account. The address on that Facebook account's not real. And the phone number sure as hell ain't real. Because I don't believe in giving any real information on the internet like that. Neither should you. Because that real information can be used against you, not in a court of law, but by people from other countries speaking in accents that are hard to understand, who are just trying to take you for a ride. So, that being said, that's why I don't have meta stuff. I just no. Also, screw you, Instagram, for wanting a picture of my ID in order to make a social media account. You could just rot with that attitude. So let's get into G.I. Joe Retro Duke here. First off, I want to talk about the stand. Okay, we're going to pick his feet up off the stand here. We got two fisticuffs, by the way, and that's pretty cool. We never get fisticuffs with our G.I. Joes, except rarely do we get extra hands. And I do appreciate fists, but honestly, I just want some I want some C's. I want some grasping hands, okay? I was very upset with the Vamp for not coming with clasping hands for the driver. Like, how is that guy how's Clutch supposed to hold the wheel? He's got these trigger fingers, he's like holding the wheel with trigger fingers out, or, changing the gears with the trigger finger out. It's stupid. It's asinine, and I wish you would stop. We want some C hands. We want some graspers for our vehicle guys, okay? Look, you don't have to give me a trigger finger hand for Clutch. Clutch is never going to use a gun in my collection. Clutch is always going to be holding the clutch and holding the wheel. He is not going to be holding a gun. So why did you give me trigger hands instead of graspers? Do you have a problem with grasper hands? Like, is that just against your religion, G.I. Joe team? Is that what's going on here? Because I really need to know the answer to this question. What do you have against grasping hands? What do you have against the Kung Fu grip? You got a problem with the Kung Fu grip? That's what G.I. Joe was known for, the Kung Fu grip. But you obviously have a problem with it. And I don't know why you have a problem with the lack of Kung Fu grip going on here, the lack of gripping hands, but, you give us this retro character. Ooh, that's all retro. It's from 1983. Bask in your memories without Kung Fu grip. Because that wasn't the selling point of G.I. Joe action figures at all back then. No, sir. No, sirree. So, that's my little rant on it. I want us to have some more grasper hands. Fists are cool, but I wanted, I wanted a grasper hand so that, Duke could at least hold his binoculars correctly. He can't fist his binoculars. I mean, that sounds like it's a wrong thing to do, and, don't do that. But you can't hold them with a fist. And, the trigger finger holding the binoculars, he's got a finger hanging. It's just stupid. Did you do that, or did I do that? I did that. I knocked stuff over. I knock stuff over all the time. So, that's my rant on that. We're going to move on because I don't want to spend too much time on that rant. All right, so it comes with this cool little foot stand thing, and this foot stand has a wrong way and a right way to put the figure on. If you position it where this weird little swoosh feeling thing is facing towards you, and towards the backpack of the figure and not towards his face, then you've done it correctly. But if the swoosh is the other way around and it's facing out towards the front of the figure, the face of the figure, you've done it incorrectly. His toes are going to hang off the edge. So that's just an FYI for the stand. It's a nice little stand, and I do wish they included it with all of the G.I. Joe stuff that we never seem to have it included with. That's a shame. It's a crying shame, and this needs to be thrown in every box. You need to put this in the box. Do you hear me, G.I. Joe team? Please, put this in the box so that our figures can stand. Okay? Cool. We agree on that one? Nice. We're moving on. All right. Now, let's get over to some of these other accessories, and then we're going to do size comparisons. So first off, I'll talk about the backpack. I do not you just dropping things. I do like this backpack and in its textures. There's something about this backpack I do despise, and we're going to get into that. First off, I do like the fact that we have this fun little texture of a shovel, a trenching tool that's been folded up and strapped to the backpack. You got these water bottles strapped to either side of the backpack, and you got some more miscellaneous stuff put in here. It doesn't feel like he's actually got a very, packed backpack. He instead just seems to have I don't know, maybe this is like, just a day bag or something. I love the textures in it. I do think it's a little too heavy for a backpack. I think maybe they could have done with a little hollowing on the inside of it in order to stop it from being so heavy. But also, there is a big negative on this backpack, and there's none of those little bars for you to put the guns on. And seriously, I get annoyed, and I do not, a figure that has lack of weapon storage is always a figure that will lose points in my book. I don't care if you're trying to make it seem like it was in 1983. Look, in 1983 technology, 1983 materials, 1983 everything was not as good as 2024 stuff. So in 2024, we can put little bits off to the sides of our backpacks that allow guns to be held onto there with their triggers. I think it's an amazing thing that they've done with the backpacks on that end, and I am very sad and frustrated that this backpack that comes with the Retro Duke does not have any sort of storage. And yeah, there are those people that are like, but it didn't have it, back then, so why would it have it now? Nostalgia. And I say to that, nostalgia is all well and good, but let's do nostalgia with modern day techniques and modern day technologies so that we can kind of see where it came from, but also see where it's going. Okay? We don't need an exact replica of something that was made in 1983. And on that end, we're going to really talk about that when we get to the figure, because this figure's got a lot of stuff in it that it didn't have in 1983. And if you were doing a true nostalgic figure, then it would have had just as much articulation, and it would be made of just the crappy plastic that it was made of in the 80s. And it's not that. It would also have a rubber band inside of it, which it does not. So it just seems like they're trying too hard with this, and that is a shame. So we're going to move on from the backpack, and we're moving on now to his extra accessory here, which is a pair of binoculars on a strap. And this is the first time in the G.I. Joe Classified Series line where we come across a strap with no textures. This strap has no textures whatsoever. It's a pretty bland strap. Actually, the entirety of this of these binoculars is pretty bland. Let's take a look at the binoculars that we get with our Tiger Force Duke. Okay, they're on his belt. We got to pull them off his belt. Come on. He's got more of a binocular than a binocular. But his binocular is made out of hard plastic. It fits in his hand very well. It fits up to his eye very well. It's small, but he can hold it pretty decently. And that little spike at the bottom that fits onto his belt does help him actually hold it. Now, comparing it to these binoculars, first off, I want to mention that the binocular that's smaller that comes with TF Duke has a lot more sculpt work in it. It is done very well. There is a lot of fun sculpting into this. You got the recessed little window thing, that's the viewfinder on one end, and then you have the little monocle on the other side that's also got a recessed bit that you could probably plug a blast effect into if you wanted. That's kind of funny. And the texturing on this is superb. This monocular is very good. I like the monocular that came with TF Duke. Now, these binoculars that come with Retro Duke are rubbery. They move around. You can mesh them up. You can squeeze them down. They have no texturing on the underside. It's all just flat, and it's boring. These are very boring binoculars, and you can't put them around his neck, and then you can get him to hold them up to his eyes, and I guess it will kind of work, but at the same time, they're very boring. It's a very terrible sculpt job on that one, and I'm saddened that we've seen something like that from G.I. Joe. I've never seen anything like that from G.I. Joe. I've never felt any accessory that has such a lack of texture like those binoculars do. I just finished saying, even these tiny monoculars that are made of hard plastic, by the way, which thank you, G.I. Joe, for moving away from hard plastic, you bitches. Very nice. Very hard plastic on the TF. And TF Duke isn't that old either. What the hell happened between the making of TF Duke and now, where we get these weapons that look, I'm making a U out of a shotgun, or an N. It stands for no good. That's what this N made out of a shotgun stands for. No good. No bueno. Not good. It's not copacetic. It sucks. It's terrible. We're talking about the gun now. We're talking about his assault shotgun, which has some amazing texturing into it. It is really well sculpted down. Which, just an FYI, I doubt that the 1983 figure had such good sculpting on the weapon. Why did you give us good sculpting on this weapon, but not good sculpting on the binoculars, or not good sculpting on the helmet, which we're going to get into? And yeah, you got a nice little grip on the shotgun so he can cock it. You've got this nice little handle. It's even got some texture work done into it. The stock has got some textures put into it. It makes it feel like a nice, sturdy, solid stock. You got some rubberized textures on the end of it, and of course, it's all rubber. So at the end of the day, no matter how good the texturing is, it sucks because it's made out of rubber. I want rubber wheels on my Transformers, not rubber guns on my Joes. So we're not going to get into the rubber conversation. If you want the rubber conversation, check out the thing I did on the Techno Viper with HMS Rocket. I went into a rubber rant. Now let's look at the submachine gun he comes with. It's got a collapsible stock, which because it's made out of rubber, you can actually spin it and collapse it. Look at that! I can squeeze it all down. It's a perfectly collapsible thing. Actually, this stock upsets me so much. I'm probably going to take a pair of scissors to it just to get rid of it because I think it's that freaking stupid. It is a stupid stock for a gun that is a submachine gun. It's just, you could have given us a solid stock for this. I don't know why you gave us another collapsible stock. And especially since you made it out of rubber, and this stock is the most collapsible of any collapsible stock that G.I. Joe Classified has ever collapsed onto us. Look at that. It's just squeezing it down. Oh, just destroying this gun. Just hate it. It also has an ammo pack that comes out, by the way. Which, just so you know, the ammo pack is also made out of rubber, and the gun is made out of rubber. So I give it just a little while or a very hot day, and you're going to find this gun just wilting. And that's a shame. That is a shame. We're paying way too much money for these figures for them to be this low quality. Okay? Then I'm gonna harp on that. All right? These accessories are terrible quality accessories. They're Mattel's better at making accessories. And that sucks because G.I. Joe figures used to be known for the really fun, cool accessories, but that's not really the case anymore. G.I. Joe figures are not known for their accessories. I don't know what they're doing with this line, but they are killing it. They're trying their best to kill a moneymaker, and it's because it's making the money that they're killing it. Because anyway. Nope, no tangents. We're still covering the helmet. We're going the helmet for the Retro Duke. And this helmet is the worst POS helmet we have gotten yet in the G.I. Joe Classified line. I can't think of a helmet worse than this one. First off, not a single bit of texturing. No texturing, not even on this visor piece that goes around. This might as well have been a Lego helmet for the amount of texturing on it. It's none. I think a Lego helmet may actually have more texturing on it than this thing. This is a POS helmet, okay? Look, you can raise the visor up and down. That's cool. I like the visor aspect, but in an area where we've gotten textured helmets left and right, we've gotten some amazing stuff. I am constantly praising these helmets. Heck, I just made a video about how awesome the GI Joe helmets have gotten, and it saddens me that I come across a helmet that completely bypasses what I did in that video, completely changes it, 180 turn on the helmets from the GI Joe team, because suddenly I talk about you having amazing helmets and you bring us this. You bring us this. This is a terrible helmet. It doesn't have any, it's all smooth. There's no textures here. This just feels like a hunk of plastic that you just fit on their head. And then you gave a harder piece of plastic for the visor, which, by the way, the visor's still rubberized and this helmet's still rubberized. It fits on Duke's head very well. And it actually, let's see, where's TF Duke? Here's TF Duke. It fits on TF Duke's head very well. It's a little loose on TF Duke's head, honestly. But yeah, it's far less loose on. No, it's about the same looseness on Retro Duke's head. But that's the helmet. I do not like the helmet. I do not like the helmet at all. I do think that this helmet is, next to those terribly sculpted binoculars, the worst accessory. I think it's number one in the worst accessory. The binoculars are number two. Now let's move into the rest of the figure. We have a knife that that you would find at a drama school, because it's made out of rubber and it bends. And look, stab Ben, stab Ben. It's a terrible knife. I hate it. It does have some nice sculpt work on it and good molding, but it's a terrible knife because it's made out of rubber, and that's enough reason for me to dislike it. I want my wheels out of rubber, not my weapons. Okay? He's also got this pistol, really nice 9mm pistol, I assume. It's got some good sculpting on it, nice handle work, cool trigger guard, iron sights made out of rubber, so it absolutely sucks. And now we're going to move into the rest of the figure. We'll talk about that sculpt work. He's got this bandolier that moves around. Bandolier is made out of rubber, which all the bandoliers have been, so I don't really count that as a negative. I do think this bandolier is nice, except for the fact this bandolier is missing a lot of textures. You don't get as many textures on this bandolier that you would expect. And let's take a look at TF Duke right here. What is your bandolier looking like? Oh my God! There's leather work textured into your bandolier. What is that? There's even like a little belcal where the bandolier fits together. Dear Lord, the texturing on this bandolier is just so superb in comparison to this just this hideous excuse for a bandolier Retro Duke is wearing. Retro Duke, you're wearing just the crappiest of bandoliers. They could have at least given you the bandolier from Snake Eyes, because that was really good. But this bandolier is made out of a thinner material. It feels like it's more flimsy. It feels like, given a little while, this thing will just split and break off the Duke. It doesn't feel high quality. It doesn't feel high quality at all. So let's further, now that we're done talking about the accessories, let's get into talking about the sculpt work and the articulation. We're starting from the feet like we always do. This actually has some sculpt work under the feet. Let's take a look. Did TF Duke have sculpt work under the feet? Not so much. Not so much at all. His feet actually, his foot sculpt is very limited compared to Retro Duke. Retro Duke does win out whenever it comes to these boots and how they're sculpted. They're really well done. Moving up to the top, we got some wrinkles because, he wears these boots a lot. We've got the, nice little articulation with that. Though I do think this may be a little looser than normal, and that because of the way his foot articulation works and how stiff that joint is, it can be hard to maneuver his feet. With the, you do fear you're going to break them or something. You can spin the foot so that it looks broken, so that when you get your Doc character, you can have Duke with some broken feet, and Doc can take care of him. Boot swivel. I like the fact that they sculpted the pants going over the boot edge, which they didn't do in '83. And this is the we're going to start talking about the just the weird juxtaposition that this entire figure is. Okay, the accessories seem to be a bunch of unsculpted POSs that come from '83, but then you get to the figure itself, and this sculpt work is superb. This is modern day sculpt work. Okay, what were you trying to do here? Why did you do such a poor job giving us these accessories. Even the bandolier doesn't have sculpt work on it, but then you did such an excellent job sculpting this guy up. What drugs are you taking? Because I need to know. All right, we're moving up here. We got some nice knee pads. We've got some good folds over around the boot. Come up here to the pants. We got more great sculpting, texturing into his khakis, because I remember this guy wearing khaki pants, and you get that khaki texture. They actually put in the khaki texture, okay? You just why could you do that with the pants, but you couldn't do it with the helmet or the binoculars? What the hell's wrong with you? Moving up here, we got really great sculpting in the shirt. We've got all sorts of wrinkles and stuff because he always wore a shirt that was just a smidge too large for him, and that's because his body size wasn't right. And with the military, you get one size, and it better fit you. So they don't do custom sizes if you happen to have a different body shape. If a small fits you, then that's what you get. It doesn't matter if your arms are too long for the small. You may have to wear a medium to get the arm length in, but then it's going to be baggy in the front. You're not going to win. So he got some nice button work coming up the center of his chest area, and there's an emblem on his left pocket, his left breast pocket, and there's an emblem on his right breast pocket. I think maybe that's just a button though. And he's got some good articulation here. We've got a bend in the core. His core bends pretty well, though it still annoys me a little bit because it doesn't seem like it wants to. Like, it seems like there's more that you can do with this core that it's just not letting you do. And there's something up with that. I don't know what's going on with the core articulation for this guy, but it's just not wanting to snap. Like, you can feel that it's supposed to, but it doesn't. It doesn't ratchet. It's got a small soft ratchet in there, but it doesn't want to ratchet in any direction. Now you can bend him sideways, and because of the ball joint in his hip area, he can do that pretty well. That's pretty nice. I like how maneuverable these guys are. I like how you can do that stuff with them. And I just don't like how the core joint doesn't seem to want to cooperate. The one above the ball joint. Now his arms can move 360 degrees. They can come up at a 90, and they got a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows with pinless joints, and then a rotation on the hands. But because they made these hands out of a weird rubber too, it's hard to get the joint in them to work properly. They do move up and down, but they don't want to stay because whenever they change to these rubberized weapons, they've also started doing rubberized hands, and the rubberized hands are just not good. They're just not working it right. All right, he's got a side-to-side movement on his left hand and an up-and-down movement on his right hand. Now, he's also got the pop-down joints on his hip I forgot to mention about, and double-jointed knees that are also pinless. His pants come up pretty well. He's got a nice belt sculpted in there. Really well belt sculpting going on there. Even going so far as to include the belt loops. That was a good touch. And coming up here to his head, he's got a decent head sculpt. We got a nice strong chin. Is that a cleft chin? No. I wasn't sure if he had a cleft chin or not. And got a nice face. I do like the hair. I think the hair's neat, though it's cut short. And Duke here is the leader of the Joes in the field, and he's also special forces trained. He's trained special forces, though I don't understand why he's only a sergeant. I could have sworn he was a lieutenant, and many people have been saying Retro Duke is a sergeant, and I could have sworn to you Duke was a lieutenant. I thought he was. But to end this video out, let's do some size comparisons. We've got TF Duke here, so we're going to put them side to side to get an understanding of the differences in these two. I do like TF Duke's accessories a bit more. I like his hair a bit more. His head sculpt is definitely on the better side of things. I've had a couple of people comment on that, and I like the fact that we even get the fact the sides of his head have been shaved, and you can feel that with TF Duke, but you can't really feel that with Retro Duke here. You can kind of get that impression, but not really. Now, putting them back to back, are they the same height? Yes, they are. And let's set TF Duke over here off to the side, and let's bring up the bat. Where's my bat? No, TF Duke, really? Don't be like that. stand still, man. Okay, here's the bat. I love my bats. The bats are so cool. Okay, so here's the bat and the bat and Duke together. Let's remove the bat's backpack, pull it off, and there you go. The bat is still taller than Duke. I don't know what that was on the bottom of his foot. He had a thumbtack stuck to the bottom of his foot. There we go. Duke is smaller than the bat, and the bat compared to the Duke side by side. I think they work out pretty well. And finally, you can't have Duke without comparing him to Cobra Commander, because Cobra Commander is always going after Duke. And here we go. Back to back, we've got Duke and Cobra Commander. They're actually at the same height. Actually, I don't know about that just yet. There we go. Seems Cobra Commander with his helmet maybe a little bit taller than Duke. Just a little bit. But shoulder-wise, their shoulders are on the same plane. So it tells me that height-wise they are the same. It's just that Cobra Commander's helmet, which has some really nice sculpting on it, even though this is a bland helmet that you didn't think had any sculpting on it, it actually does. Yeah, they managed to give you the metal feel for this helmet, and even going so far as to put a little dorsal fin bit at the top of it. Really nice helmet for Cobra Commander. Really terrible helmet for anything else. And I'm just knocking things over. Here at Blind_Prime, always knocking things over. All right. Well, that is everything I've got to say about Duke, I think. I'm pretty sure I said it all. My overall rating of not TF Duke, regular Retro Duke is going to be a 7 out of 10. I know. I wish I could give it better. He's got some great figure work. Like, the figure by himself is pretty good. It's just his accessories bring it down so much further. It's those rubber hands that seem to not really be working well with the joints. It's these rubber weapons. It's the fact that the helmet just did not have any sculpt work at it at all. It's the fact that the binoculars don't have any sculpt work on the strap, and the binoculars themselves are very lackluster in the sculpting. We saw with the monocle that came with TF Duke exactly how much sculpting they can put into these things that they just refuse to put into Retro Duke. And then his bandolier doesn't even have sculpting on it, when TF Duke's bandolier was just chock full of sculpting. So, personally speaking, this is my first and almost my last retro figure. I will be purchasing the Cobra Infantry retro figures because I love the Cobra Infantry figures, but sadly, the army builders out there have taken them all away from us. And where the Cobra B.A.T got re-releases, the Cobra Infantry has not gotten any re-releases. And I consider that an absolute shame to the entirety of G.I. Joe Classified series. The Cobra Infantry and the Cobra Trooper were both very excellent figures that need more of them made, because they are some of the best army builders I've ever come across. And I love them. The Bat is an excellent army builder as well, but that Cobra Infantry was just chef's kiss. It was beautiful. Definitely a 10 out of 10 on all scales. But Retro Duke here, 7 out of 10. There's a lot that I think could have been improved upon on this figure that they did not. So just understand that nostalgia isn't the win-all, isn't the be-all. I appreciate nostalgia like the next guy, but at the same time, I want nostalgia with modern-day technologies. I want to be able to go back in time and experience it, but with modern-day stuff, okay? I think the nostalgia of making the packaging for this guy the way they did it was enough. They basically took a 3.75-inch packaging for the G.I. Joes back in the 80s, and they blew it up. They basically doubled its size, so that whenever you're an adult and you pick up one of these figures, these 6-inch figures, it kind of feels like back when you were a 7-year-old kid and you were picking up a little G.I. Joe. You know, the figure in the hand is just about the same, from adult to childhood. So I like that. It works. I think that the packaging for this is spot on and amazing, and it definitely goes a long way to adhering towards the nostalgia stuff. But I do think that they took it too far with this figure by not putting any sculpt work, not any modern day techniques into this figure. And that's what I want in my G.I. Joes. I want the old G.I. Joes with modern day designs and modern day engineering, because I live in the modern day and I want to see how much better the Joes from my past could be in the technology of today. So thank you all so much for watching this in-depth, hands-on review. Kream has just been napping over here. He has not saw fit to make his appearance known in the video at all. No, no. You want to say anything to the viewers? You want to say anything to the camera? No? No, he does not. Thanks again for watching. Until next Pride, bye bye for now.